folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Yeah, you probably hear what sounds like kind of popcorn in the background, and that's because we are getting just slammed with sleet and ice right now. And even though the building I'm in is insulated, it has a metal roof, so you're probably hearing that. I apologize for it. There's just nothing I can do about it. This video, I don't want to scare people. I don't want people to get all panicked. That's not it. But I think that this is just a lot of it, my gut feeling, that we're kind of watching a transition happening right before our eyes when it comes to all of this great reset globalist movement to kind of put out any bit of freedom that we've ever thought we once had. And you're all aware of that. I mean, you all know that this is what's happening or what's coming, but I kind of think that just in the last few days, all this stuff, and yes, the whole Russia-Ukraine thing is part of it, that we're watching that transition happen. I talked about this several months ago, that I felt that it was going to happen probably over the winter, maybe into the spring. And I want to just talk about that today and kind of show you some things that I just think that we're kind of watching that happen. Before I get started with that, just a couple of things to talk about. We are having our local meeting coming up here on March 6th. That's March 6th. So for all of you people that like to come to our local meeting, it has been scheduled. So certainly plan on coming to that if you're able to. It's at the same time, same place that we always have it, here in South Central Ozarks of Missouri. So March 6th is the date for that. And then also we are still working towards having our big 2-day expo at the end of May. You can go to preparedhomesteadexpo.com, and I've been updating that website. We'll still be putting some more information on it, but we've been lining up vendors. Quite a few people have expressed interest in vendors, and I'm working with a couple of people to schedule some speakers also. So there's a lot of things going on with that. It's really exciting. So if you're able to attend that at the end of May, please do so. You can find out information on the website. Also, for that event, when you get on the website, it has a spot to register, and it looks like you're buying tickets. Well, they're free. It's free to get in. And even if you don't have tickets, you can still get in. We're just asking that people go through that process. You don't have to give any information other than your name and then how many people are coming. And that's just to kind of help us get an idea of how many people to plan for this event. So that's going on. So it's looking to be a pretty exciting thing here. And it's just a really cool expo and kind of event for preparedness and homestead-minded people. So if you're able to attend that at the end of the May, please do so. All right, so there's just a lot of stuff happening, and it's kind of when it's like this, when it's just kind of this onslaught of stuff, and it's not looking so good. Well, I kind of think that we're kind of seeing that transition. So we all are pretty much aware of what's happened up to this point. And the United States government is continually saying that they're just absolutely certain that Russia is planning on go ahead and moving into Ukraine and taking over Ukraine within the next 48 hours. And they're saying that the satellite imagery and everything is indicating that. Russia has called up the reserves. So is Ukraine. Putin has ordered blood reserves moved to the front lines. It does, on the surface, look like that. And, you know, this is kind of the thing that's been happening for the last few weeks. Is this going to happen? We all wondered. Well, he's moved into the rebel parts of Ukraine, there in eastern Ukraine. So is he going to move into the rest of it? Who knows? But I think there's a whole lot more going on. Do you ever stop and wonder that all this stuff is just a part of the game? It's part of the plan. You know, the Great Reset plan, the Globalist Agenda 2030 plan to kind of shape and reshape and redo the way the world is. You have to remember that both Putin and Biden and pretty much every player in this game right now, they're all part of the World Economic Forum. They attend, they speak, and they're all friends there. But out here on the battlefield, they're enemies. So it makes you wonder. the possibility of all this happening causing gas prices or prices of oil to skyrocket to the point that the average person really can't afford it anymore is a very strong possibility. And I believe that that could be part of this. You know, one of the main initiatives within the World Economic Forum is this net zero carbon emissions. They want people to get off of oil. They just absolutely want it. Kamala Harris has talked about ending fracking. Pretty much everyone in the Biden administration is all for this, moving towards electric vehicles. Biden has spoke on it many times. And so is it a possibility that a lot of what's going on is one part in an effort to get people off of oil, because it's definitely going to cause prices to increase. That's what everyone is saying. Even yesterday, Biden said that it's going to hurt people in the pocketbook, and that people have to be ready for that. You know, we get about 7% of our oil from Russia, and we're all aware of that when Biden took office, he cut off the oil pipeline. He's considering not renewing some oil leases. That came out in the news this week. Many of you don't even know this, because a lot of people don't know this, but there was a big oil refinery that exploded off the coast of Louisiana just in the past few days. And here's one other thing. You know, we get about 11% of our imports of oil from Mexico, and they are cutting us off. As of this year, they're reducing the amount of oil that they export to us by around 60%. And then by next year, it's gonna be completely done. They're not gonna be exporting us any more oil. So that's a considerable amount of reduction of oil also. So the prospects over the next year or two of the amount of oil that we would be getting and what we need is not very good. We're cutting off our own supply. We're not getting it from other people, and then the people that we are getting it from probably are either going to cut us off or raise the prices to where we can't afford it. And Russia's done real good on their oil. In just the last month, because of the price increases in oil in the last month, crude oil, Russia has been making an additional $1 billion a day. $1 billion a day additional money since the prices of oil have gone up. They're doing quite well for themselves, and that's something that I have, the position that I have taken, and a lot of others have not, by saying that I believe that Russia is in a good place financially, and probably a better place than we are. And that this idea that if Russia and us go to war, that we could crush them economically, or that they would fail economically before us, I don't quite agree with. This is not the Soviet Union of the 80s and the 90s. This is a very different animal over there, and they have been preparing for this for years, I believe. Look at this chart here. This is the amount of U.S. debt that Russia owns. And you can see the chart up high, and then all of a sudden it drops down, and right now they own almost none. They almost, own no U.S. debt. They've sold it off. They've gotten out of U.S. debt. They keep all of their money in either gold or Chinese yen. They've completely dropped the U.S. currency for the most part, and they're investing their money in gold and putting their currency reserves in yen. So they've been preparing for this. Russia is the #1 wheat exporter on the planet, and their buddies over in China, well, they've been kind of doing the same thing. If you look at China, and we've talked about this one, they have been stocking up. They are like the ultimate preppers, folks. Look at the numbers on this. The amount of these are the global reserves. If you take every country on the planet and you add up how much reserves of these commodities do they have, this is the percentage that China owns of those. Very high percentages. They own the vast majority of the world's reserves in all these major commodities, everything from oil to wheat to raw steel, everything. In America, not so much. We have very little. In fact, up in Canada, they have 0 gold reserves now. And America, well, we're not doing so well on our reserves. In fact, there's talk of opening up some of our oil reserves to try to get the prices down and keep the prices from going too high. So in looking at a lot of these things that are kind of playing out on an economic standpoint between United States and Russia, America isn't looking so good. Russia doesn't have a lot of debt. They have a lot of money sitting in the bank, and they have very little debt, and their debt to GDP ratio is very small, especially considered comparing to the United States debt to GDP ratio. And this is true with just the whole planet. The whole planet is in debt. In fact, the whole planet looks like we're in global inflation. The planetary debt is around little over 300 trillion right now, and that number has gone up $10 trillion just in the last year. These are not good numbers, folks, going into possible, global conflict. China has been weighing in on Taiwan again. They're taking advantage of this moment with Russia and Ukraine, and they're saying, hey, Taiwan is not some independent country. It's ours. It's our property. And they intend to make it their property. And so with everything that's going on, that all the attention is drawn to Russia and Ukraine, it's quite a strong possibility that China could start making some moves on Taiwan before too long. And we're seeing that. The Russian ambassador, I wanted to mention this, the Russian ambassador said this, that Americans are going to feel pain, that this whole conflict, everything that's happening, it's going to cause pain to Americans. And he didn't really elaborate on what he means by that. But I think initially he's talking about the economic pain. I think that this is going to cause some major shortages in the United States between the fertilizer that they've cut us off, the fact that they're the largest exporter of wheat, that they have a very large control in the market of oil. They could affect us pretty negatively if they want. And so far, these sanctions that we've put on Russia basically mean nothing. Even the American media is reporting that the sanctions were very weak and very light. And I think Russia has been positioning themselves over the last few years to kind of shield themselves from any type of sanctions that America and NATO would put on them. And that's why they've buddied up so much with China. This is not putting us in a good position, folks. All over the internet, I've just noticed today, there's a lot of people that are saying that it's starting to look pretty sketchy out there. Things are not looking good, and they're not talking about what's going on with Ukraine and Russia. They're talking about what's going on with the economy. The stock market, again, is not handling all this very well, but that's just not really the most important thing. Look at the gold and silver prices. They're going up. But let's focus in on silver just for a moment. And this was something, I saw this, it sparked my curiosity, and I'll admit I didn't quite understand it at first. I had to do a little reading, a little research to fully understand this. So yesterday, in the silver market, in less than the first hour, so we're talking just under the first hour of trading in the silver market, there was so much silver traded that it equated to about 40% of the entire year's worth that silver that is produced, or silver that is mined. So in 1 hour, that's how much was traded. It is believed that this is being done by the big banks, JP Morgan, Bank of America, that they're moving a lot of money, and they're trying to keep the price of silver down, because it helps keep the dollar value from losing all of its value. Now, some of you may want to chime in, and if I need to be corrected on this, or if you want to explain it further, that's fine. But from what I understand, that's what's going on, that this is a way that they're manipulating the markets so that it helps keep the dollar in play a little bit longer. And if that's true, and they're going to this great extent of this much market manipulation, and it's significant, then that must mean, that's my little small hillbilly mind, it translates to our economy isn't doing too good, and our dollar is doing really, really bad. And here we are potentially at the start of a global conflict. And so this is what's happening in the financial world, what's happening in across the sea over in Europe. And then, of course, we have today, apparently, the big convoys are started. And they're heading to Washington, D.C., and the president has called up the National Guard. The last I saw, about 800 National Guardsmen are being sent to Washington, D.C. The wall has been put up back around the Capitol building. I'm telling you, I am all for standing up against government. I am all for fighting for freedom. I just don't think that this is necessarily the best way to do it. I think it's a trap. Could be wrong, and boy, do I ever hope that I am wrong. But I think it's a trap, and that's putting a lot of people, a lot of good patriotic people, and a lot of resources and everything all in one place, you know, in a place that it would be very hard for them to get out of. And I think it'd be a better impact if they just all stayed home and turned the trucks off and said, sorry, can't drive. Don't feel too good today. I could be wrong, and I understand that a lot of you disagree with me on this, and that's okay. But I think that this is going to end up pretty bad, or at least it has the possibility of ending up pretty bad. So all of this is being said, and this video has gone a little longer than I intended, but I think there's a lot going on. I think we are watching a transition happen, a transition into a pretty bad state for us as a government, as a country, and really as the whole planet. And so all I can say, folks, is you need to get ready. You need to brace yourself, because I think things are about to get worse pretty soon. I could be wrong, and I hope that I am, but when you start putting all the puzzle pieces together, it doesn't look that I am wrong. We will have to wait and see, but as it stands right now, it doesn't look so good. All right, folks, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.